All right, we are in the dog days of summer. It is July 14th. Riggo, it is so hot out there today. So let's kick off this show. We get with the little summertime action, a little
summertime blues,
a little hot fun in the summertime. Sly and the Family Stone bringing us in.
Well, you're right, but I don't think it's all that bad, to tell you the truth. Although it's like, what, bumping up 95, 96 today? Supposedly, I was out there yesterday mowing the grass. I didn't think it was all that bad. I've got a new thing for everybody, though. It just dawned on me when I say a new thing. I was telling my wife, I wore a wool shirt yesterday. It's real thin, though, ultralight wool, but but it's knit, and it's real tight fitting, which I find. I've gone out there a couple times in this kind of weather, and invariably, if you wear cotton, particularly cotton, like jeans, which I do wear, but a cotton shirt, and I wear long sleeve shirts just to stay away from the sun, those things get soaked, literally soaked with water, like you just jumped out of a pool, and cotton is the worst because it just clings, and it just once it gets wet, it's worthless. The other part of this is. Cotton, and particularly when you're wearing a shirt with a collar on it, air doesn't really pass through it. So when the wind blows, you really don't get the advantage of that cooling. I noticed yesterday with that wool, I was much cooler. I could move, do everything I wanted to. So I kind of discovered, I thought, and I've been thinking about it for a while, that's what I'm going to start to wear. I mean, you hear wool and you go, what are you talking about? That's wintertime. But a really lightweight wool, that's not true, particularly if it's knit. So I think I've discovered something to beat the heat a little bit, but it is warm, but I don't know. There's something about the warm weather I like, except the one thing is the sweating that you do. And literally, like I said, when you get to the point where you're soaked through with sweat, that's not a good place to be. But it happens invariably in this kind of weather. I can't remember what it was like. I remember the football field, it was the same type of deal. The worst part, though, what I recall was the sweat running down into your eyes.
Yeah, right.
That's just the worst. There's nothing, you can't really wear a sweatband when you're playing football.
Wow. Yeah, so you would normally, when would you start training? Let's, even back when you were heading to college.
What do you mean?
When would you get ready for football season in your own condition?
When was the first day of practice?
Let's say, when in college.
Let's just say it was August 15th.
Right.
I'd start on August 15th.
Not even the 14th.
I did a little bit my senior year. I ran a little bit beforehand because I was a KU ambassador, and I went around the state trying to drum up interest in the University of Kansas football program. And that was 50 years ago, and there's no more interest in it now than there was then. In fact, maybe
that's a failed ambassadorship program.
Yeah, it was. Well, you were set up to fail. There was no way you were going to do any good. But no, I would go to a few places there. I did a little bit of running. But I'm telling you, football's a weird thing to get in shape for. You can do all the running you want, but it's just not the same kind of running.
Right.
It's the starting and stopping is unless you go out there, which I don't know many people want to do that. You'd run out, like for a running back, you run so far and stop, cut, do this and all that stuff. I never worked on that too much. But I do a little bit of stuff, particularly when I got, into the NFL. I would start maybe 6 weeks before camp opened, but you never do enough. Right. You always go to camp and you're sore, and it never goes away. That's why towards the end I'm going, I'll just wait. And that's what most of the guys did back then. Anyway, they had full-time jobs. So you had a full-time job. Most guys came home, they weren't going to go. First of all, weightlifting was unknown in those days. And maybe you did a little running. Maybe a quarterback go out and throw the football a little bit, find a receiver, something to throw. But other than that, I think you did all your work in training camp because it lasted 8 weeks. 8 weeks.
8 weeks, 6 pre-games, 6 exhibition games.
Mm-hmm. 6 of those, and you had 2 weeks before you played your first one. And that was coming off basically, and this just happened, I don't know how far in. I think the first one I ever went to, it was when I was down here in Washington. The off-season, not an OTA, but what do they call it? The minicamp.
Minicamps, yep.
Minicamps came in, and Bobby, I'm going to guess around 1976, 77.
Sounds about right.
I think that's what it is. But yeah, there was no such. So when you left in December, and playing with the Jets, you always left in December, and you didn't see anybody till the middle of July. That was it.
And isn't it remarkable that today's modern day athlete, modern day NFL player, it's more about overtraining that these guys year round, which is why you've always talked about the volume of injuries of pecs being torn and hamstrings and It's
Well,
almost,
and the other one, the big one, is a lot of times during the summertime. I don't. There's something going on with this, but all the dehydration that you see with IVs, I've never heard. For 14 years, I played 14 years. Last year's 85. I'd never heard up until that point of anybody getting an IV for dehydration at halftime.
Cramping
Oh,
up.
he's cramping. We got to get. I mean, and we had a bunch of slobs that showed up in July. I mean, fat, overweight.
Literally the over the hill gang.
Yeah, and nobody was getting IVs. There was no such thing. I mean, a few guys get a cramp here and there, but man, they've taken it to a whole. Maybe the idea is that because fat doesn't cramp, only muscle cramps. Maybe that's the answer to our question. I don't know.
Wow. So, relative to, but everybody remembers that there's plenty of iconic photos of you, and especially later in your career, where you were hitting that oxygen tank.
Well, that's on the sidelines during the game.
Right.
Didn't have that at practice.
Right.
Wish they would have. No oxygen at practice.
Was it oxygen?
It was. Or nitrous? No.
It wasn't
nitrous in
little
oxide.
Dennis Hopper and was it Blue Velvet?
No, it wasn't. It was oxygen. That was just, the truth of the matter is, I don't think that really did anything. But it was just the air out of, because they ran the oxygen through ice. So so it was cool air as opposed to breathing the warm, humid air.
Oh.
So that to me was.
We've
like,
learned something
that was
in
an
Redskins
advantage.
lore today.
Mm-hmm. Then in the wintertime, it was just regular. I don't think they heated it so you got hot air, but
All right,
it worked
Riggo.
out
So
fine.
here we are in the lazy, crazy, hazy, hot days of the DMV. So baseball All-Star break last night. The AL won their 8th straight game. Now this used to be just a religious experience for me growing up in the Major League Baseball.
I
All-Star
was
game.
too a little bit, and I was always, because I was a Yankee fan, AL, always wanted to see the AL win. But this is back in the 50s and early 60s. I got to tell you, I can't remember. I mean, literally, you have to go back 40, 50, 60 years. 60 years, yeah. If you go back 60 years, I would have been hot and heavy into this.
Right.
You go back 50 years, forgot about the All-Star game, could care less.
Yeah, I'm of the same opinion right now. And so here's all the things that are happening here. NBA Finals, Game 3.
Didn't even know that was going on.
No, Game 4 tonight. So you got
Who's in it?
I know, Milwaukee and the Phoenix Suns. And the ratings they're just
Are terrible.
And they're actually good teams. They're fun teams to watch, but the ratings are terrible. And you've got the British Open. You got
That's this week.
You got the major championship this week. John, 2 weeks actually. Yeah, I think July 23rd. You got the Summer Olympics in Tokyo.
Right. That I knew was coming up.
Now, any interest there?
Yeah, I'll be curious to see who the sprinters are. I know the one gal from the U.S. got disqualified for smoking weed.
Right.
And she was probably the person that had the best chance to win a gold medal in the 100 meters. Other than that, I don't know any of the sprinters. I have no idea who the sprint team is.
Yeah.
Which is actually, that's all that interests me really in the Olympics. Although I'll watch a little bit of gymnastics, the ladies' gymnastics, because the one gal is she's 24, and I can't think of who.
Simone Biles,
that's it. I just read an article on her, and she's trying to do something that's unprecedented, so I may watch a little of that. But for the most part, probably won't watch much of it at all.
Yeah, let's see. I don't care about the USA basketball. That ship sailed out. I still think our amateurs should be playing against them. Let's see. What else in the Summer Olympics? Yeah, big fan of track and field. I do like watching the track
for
and
me,
field.
the 100 meters, the 200 meters, the 400 meters,
400.
even the 880 or the 800 meters. 15,
relays.
What is it? The 1500 meters? I think that's around 15. Yeah, the 4x100 and some of that stuff. The hurdles, like the short, actually even the 400 meter hurdles.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of all the races that are out there. I forget what they say. It used to be like the 400 meters was the race that would, separate the men from the boys. Now I think it's the 800 because these guys are running 2 laps that are less than 50 seconds. I mean, they're in the 40s. They're
That's
running
extraordinary.
2. You can't. It's hard to fathom. But then you got to figure the 1500 can't be too much further behind, as far as grueling and all that stuff. But what I was getting back to saying, is the 400 meters hurdles. I don't know how many hurdles they jump. I'm going to guess at least 4. Maybe there's a 5th one in there. I can't imagine having to clear a hurdle after you get to about 300 yards. I mean, that's got to be pretty rough too. think Edwin Moses or somebody like that was. And well, actually, his name, what's his name? The kid that played for
Ronaldo Nehemiah.
Well, but he didn't run the 400. He was a 100.
He was
110 meter.
110. He was the 110.
110 meters. But I was thinking of the football player. Well, you was thinking football player too. The quarterback played here. R2D2, I call him. But RG3.
Robert Griffin III.
He ran the 4. That's what I always said about, about the fact that he wasn't particularly fast. I don't think he was overly quick. But you think about a guy that can run 400-meter hurdles, and remember that, I think, I didn't see it live, but I think I saw the replay of where it was a Minnesota game, and he takes off down the sidelines for about 70 yards. You could just see that those DBs are going, what is going on with this dude?
Yeah.
He's getting stronger, and we've tapped out. That's where really the real strength is of a sprinter is when you can run 400 meters. You don't realize it, but sprinting takes a lot of strength.
So it's a potpourri here in the middle of summer. Washington football team, they got camp starting at the end of the month, I believe July 30th, August 1st. And the big news is it's come out that the name will not be the Warriors or have anything to do with Native American heritage or going down that path. So,
but there's a movie out, and it's about the who are the New Zealand the natives of New Zealand. I can't think of what they are, but there's a movie out, Once We Were Warriors, and it's about the culture and the life of the. Oh man, I can think of it, but. It's escaping me right now.
Well, let's face it. I don't think the name and all that. I don't think anybody really truly gives a damn. All right, that's marketing. That's brand. We care about wins and losses and how the team comports itself relative to you really represent this town and going back to the glory days. For as long as they were the Redskins or anything else, I just think. Teams want wins, right?
Exactly.
The fans want wins.
But at this point, you've changed this name after, 70 years of having it, 75 years, whatever. You've changed the name. And then and I'm going, well, on the one hand, it is, warriors, but that we consider our armed forces warriors. I mean, current in this day and age. That I get it because it's a little bit, it's kind of like a knockoff. It's not quite Redskins, but it's along that vein. But at the same time, that term is not necessarily.
There's Golden State Warriors. There's plenty of teams that are still that because.
Yeah, that's the other part I was thinking. Well, that's an infringement on somebody else's
potentially.
Yeah,
sure.
I would think it was. I mean, honestly, I really don't care.
Right.
I mean, they can continue calling themselves the Washington football team. I don't have a problem with that at all.
Right. And I think most fans feel that way.
As long as it don't cost me any money. Cost me money, then I want to have a say about the whole deal. It's entertainment. It's entertainment. I mean, let's not get all worked up about this.
And then to close out, as we are right here in the middle of the summer, with this little ode to summer here, John, it seems like only yesterday the cicadas were here, and that's all we talked about. Did they not go out with a whimper?
They did, because when I came back from Alaska, which has been 3 weeks ago now, I don't think the cicadas, they were gone. And they weren't that bad.
No.
They weren't even close to as bad.
They said advertised. This was almost close to Geraldo Rivera and Al Capone's ball.
It was in a ballpark. There was definitely a ballpark.
I mean, we had a solid week where it was uncomfortable and enough, but not like I remember them.
A little bit of apprehension going on. Well, I remember, they weren't even close to as bad as what I recall the last time they were here in 2004. Not even close. I don't think so. By the way, I didn't tell you, when I got back from Alaska, I don't think we talked about this. I finally got the stool that does it all, right, at home for the commode.
Oh, you got the golden throne.
Yeah. I've got it.
You got the golden throne.
And I've had it for quite a while, and it's.
And the one that you.
And I was kind of nonplussed because I'd been thinking about it, but I wouldn't. But my lovely wife, for our 25th wedding anniversary, which is this is my 25th wedding anniversary present. Then she's getting herself a new car. I get the toilet, which I got to admit is a pretty good present now. The one thing I was thinking about, though, that it dawned on me, there's one little improvement. I got to call the company, and here's what they have to do. The actual seat that you sit on, they have to put that on ball bearings. Because you see, when you get the water jet going, and you've got to be able to kind of move it. We got to move it. I like to move it. Yeah. So I'm thinking they put some ball bearings on there would be good to go.
So your lovely bride surprised you after you test drove down in down in Florida on a
Longboat
previous
Key.
vacation.
Friend of mine.
This fancy schmancy,
Yeah.
do it all bidet, toilet, and any other.
And then there's enough buttons on there. You only press the ones that you're sure of because they're like icons and you're not. Like there's some of those things that look like there's a hook there, and I'm going, don't push that button. Don't push that button.
So you get the surprise coming back from Alaska. You have the golden throne.
Yeah.
And this is a wedding anniversary.
Yeah, it
and
was
she's getting a car.
And she's getting a car. Well, she's getting everything. I mean, I'm glad she did because I kept thinking, well, what do I get? I was thinking of getting some jewelry, but then when I heard about a car,
and this is the 25th year.
Some earrings. Yeah, I'm going earrings or a necklace. That
knew the silver anniversary for a dude was a new toilet?
She's a trendsetter. Everybody gets a new toilet, but not just a new toilet. You got to get the toilet.
This will be. You got Al Bundy from Married with Children.
Al Bundy. He would have went nuts over this.
Yeah, this is it. This is that.
That would have changed his life. You would have never seen him sitting on the couch with his hand down his pants.
Hey,
where's Al? Oh, he's in the toilet. Where's Big John? He's in the toilet.
Well, and with that, I think it is.
Yeah, I think it is. Riggo out. Oh, there I am.